Good afternoon. This is Joe Krutzinger with our monthly recalibration of TSWs. I also include Ninja settings on the stock indexes. Well, let's get started. This is the disclaimer for the illustrations that are simulated. You can get a PDF by contacting my office, and you can read this at your leisure. As you all know by now, my theory is to take like 4 months of data and optimize over that period of time and then run it forward for 1 month or 22 trading days and then keep doing that process. Another way to do it, of course, is take a big piece of data and run the optimization and then just stay with it. Now, if you do it that way, I suggest that you put a trend line on your equity curve, and when that equity curve trend line gets broken, you just paper trade until it goes back the other way if you aren't going to recalibrate. Here's an example of that. This was shapes, and it was optimized on the big Russell at the ICE, and it was done on June 23rd of 2013. And this is up to the minute up through yesterday. And you can see that on March 21st of 2016, right about when Trump started running actually, the system stopped working. And it's been straight downhill since then. So again, this is just a way to calibrate when a market has changed personality, and the system's still good and it works pretty well. I'll show you in the blind walk forwards if you recalibrate, but if you just stick with it, you'd be running right into a wall. I'm making some changes for 2018. Basically, I'm going to focus only on stock indexes, so I'm dropping the bonds. I won't be doing any bond optimizations any longer. This is the shapes retunes. All you need to do is pull up the like the E-mini 5-minute chart and put in those new settings and save it with the December 28th date on the tab, and you'll be good to go. Otherwise, you can go to JK Members and download the TSWs all fresh, or contact me by email, and I'll get on using TeamViewer and just install the new ones for you at no charge. Be glad to do that. Now here's the Razor retunes, and I want to bring your attention to two things. First of all, the NASDAQ, that's the one with the green heading at the top. That's the one I trade in my own account, in my IRA account, and I'll show you a real record of that when we get towards the end of the presentation. And I also had previously traded the mini Dow on Razor. So Razor's kind of my favorite right now for this particular market, and we'll review that when we get into the performance a little bit. Here's Razor with ribbons and the settings for that particular strategy, and the numbers at the top, like number 4 and number 5, that's in Joe's best. Those are the ones that were picked after a 19-month blind walk forward test to find out which system worked best on which market. And over that 19-month period, the 4th best system was Razor with ribbons on the NASDAQ, and it was the best system for NASDAQ at that time. Okay, this is the last table of settings. This is the bar none retunes, and it's pretty well self-explanatory, just like the others. Again, though, if you have a problem putting the inputs in, or if you feel that you aren't getting the right numbers, just shoot me an email and a TeamViewer, and I'll be glad to do it for you. No problem at all. Now, this is the performance table of the original 3 shapes, Razor and Razor with ribbons, on all of the 6 commodities. We were trading the bonds at this point, or we were presenting them, and you can see the bonds and shapes lost $1,500. Shapes as a group, doing all of them, made 1,063, but of course if you wouldn't have been doing the bonds, you'd be up about 2,500. But that's pretty darn good this month with a holiday month. Razor basically had a $55 loss. That's basically a scratch. The NASDAQ that I trade made 830, and that's pretty decent, and that's really kind of what I was concerned with. And Razor with ribbons, that group made 331.50, and that did pretty well. Okay, and here's bar none. Bar none there at the bottom made 1,035 as a group. The mid cap was a real star there, made 1,795. The bonds there only made $1.60, so it'll hardly ever worth trading there. The Joe's Best as a group together lost $79. Again, that's holiday type market, and there's no problem with that. The original Russell that we talk about is still up $32,000, even though at one time it was up $52,000. That's that one I showed you with the graph where in March of 2016 it just broke that trend line. But I'm keeping track of it, and when that trend line goes the other way, I'll let you know, and we'll see where that goes. Now, to me, this is the most informative slide in the presentation, and I'll spend a little more time on it. So we can see, for instance, the E-mini as a group. If you would have done all of the 5 iterations of the E-mini, you'd be down 1957. Of course, you remember Joe's Best is counted under the Razor and Joe's Best, so you're doing that twice, and you probably wouldn't. You'd probably just do the shapes, the Razor, and the ribbons, and the bar none. But that's the way it's presented. So the pink shows that that is the worst one that you would have done. The second worst one is close to the far right there. That's the Mini Dow. Mini Dow, all the systems lost money. Some of them didn't lose much, like Razor lost $100, but they did lose money. Now you go to the mid cap. That's the second one over, and it's yellow. It's the best. It made money in 4 out of the 5 instances. It made $4,000 if you would have traded one contract to each of the 5 instances. So that was the star of the group. The total trading everything all together made $2,295 this month, and the best particular one system, if you did just the system, did everything in the system, was Shapes. Shapes made 1,063. Bar none was close behind with making 1,035. So all in all, pretty good December, especially when you have holiday markets and all the things that happen with that. So I'm pretty darn happy with where we are there. Now, these next 2 slides are real time, and they're just kind of the year-end recap of what I've been doing with Razor. And again, you can get a PDF of this by just contacting my office. All right, when I switched to trading Razor on the Mini Dow, that was on April the 1st of this year, and through October 31st, I traded that particular market and that particular system. I did 100 trades and made $1,900. 49% of the trades were correct. Annual rate of return there is 59% on $5 grand. You didn't need $5 grand. You needed the margin, which is about $1,500, and the drawdown, which is less than $1,400. So you needed about $3 grand. But I figured the percent return on 5,000 just to give you some wash there. Percent of time in the market was only 3.46%, and so it's pretty decent. But you can see the average trade size was very small. It's only 19 bucks, and these are real time after slippage and commission, etc. But in a nutshell, in this environment where you get 1 or 2% at the bank, it made 59%. And you know they put that guy in jail for talking about 15%. So I guess enough said. Well, from November 1st through the middle of December, when I stopped trading for the year, we did 28 trades trading the NASDAQ, made $797. Annual rate of return on this is 122%, only in the market 2.46% of the time. Average trade size is up from 19 to 28, 42% right. I think I made a good switch. Obviously, if I can get an annual return of 122, that's better than 59. It's about double. So I think staying with the NASDAQ is what I'm going to do, and NASDAQ on Razor looks pretty decent. Well, that's pretty well the end of the TradeStation part of the presentation. Now I'm going to go and talk and take a look at the next part, the Ninja part. And again, next year I'm going to focus on stock indexes only, so I'll be looking at 3 stock indexes here at Ninja. First of all is the E-mini. You got a 40-minute bar. Ninja can optimize for a certain length of bar over this track record. you're making 61%. Average trade size is $55, and the drawdown's about 1,006. So that's the way that one looks. Well, here's the equity curve. Now these are all shapes on Ninja. That's the only product I sell on Ninja. And the inputs are there on the left. You just pull up your Ninja chart for the period of time from August 29th through December the 28th, and search your JK shapes, and then put in these values. And you can see we've got a 40-minute bar, and we've got a $325 stop. And that's pretty well the important part of that. Well, the next one in Ninja we're looking at is shapes on the NASDAQ on a 32-minute bar. We'll show over this period of time making $7,300 in the simulation, 75% right. Average trade size is decent, $82.20. Drawdown $635. Of the Ninja stuff, this is my favorite. Makes sense, I guess, because that's what I'm trading with my razor. Here's the NASDAQ settings. We can see we got a fairly big stop compared to the TradeStation one. It's $380 is the stop. The minute bar is 32-minute bar, and you've got, once you make 290, you're going to trail with a 30% trailing percent. But that's how it looks. Now you can see it's kind of flattened out for the last part of December, which makes sense in effect with the holiday market. Here's the last one for Ninja. This is shapes on the mini Dow. And remember, in the last blind walk forward, the mini Dow lost money on all four systems. It's the weakest one. Here you can see it's got an average trade size of $26, 55% right, only making $2,300, but only has a drawdown of 303. So it's light that way also. Well, here's the settings in the equity curve, and my favorite thing is when something makes money and then just goes flat, and makes money and goes flat, and that's got a nice angle to the curve. The stop loss here is $210. It's a 44-minute bar, which is a weird bar, but it's kind of cool, and that's pretty well the case. It's out of all trades, by the way, by about 10 o'clock Chicago time. Well, as you know, my main products are ideas, service, and support when you need it. I think the biggest difference between my company and most others is the support. All you need to do is go to the eTrackRecords.com website, the public website, go to the support tab, follow the instructions, and I can get on your machine, install anything, fix anything, be glad to do it. That's what I'm really here to do. If you have an idea of a system or a way to do something different, just let me know and I'll try to produce it for you. That's it. Well, as you all know, I offer a free red ribbon trial of all my systems. I'll be glad to give you a 14-day working copy, all 4 systems on all 5 stock markets, so that you can play with it and make sure it's something you want before you spend a dime. I think that's the very best way, is to make sure that it meets your needs, and the best way to do it is to have it on your own machine and watch it. Well, I hope you had a good year, and we look forward to a good year for next year. Good luck and great trading. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.